What's up? This is Kicking Ass with Jesse and Andy.
Yeah, I'm super nervous.
He's super nervous.
Super nervous.
I'm not. We're watching The Wall versus Shane Douglas from WCW, Great American Bash.
I've been trying to play it really cool, but we were supposed to start at 6.
Yeah.
So it's almost 9:30 p.m.
We tried to figure this out, and just turns out that without the help of Kevin Bennett, we would be just sitting here probably looking at each other.
Yeah, with our dicks in our hands. But
yeah,
I do want to say...
Maybe not our dicks in our hands, but...
I do want to say I drank... We got Starbucks.
I was about to call you out.
Yeah, I got a black coffee with espresso in it, and it's 9:30 at night. I'm super jazzing right now.
Jesse has been at the house now since about 7, and he's pissed 5 times. Legit, we were pissed 5 times.
We were talking about earlier, like I got to calm down with like pre-workouts and caffeine and stuff.
Yeah.
And so earlier, I didn't take a full scoop of pre-workout, but this is the same stuff that Kevin took.
Yeah,
Kevin
was
got sketched and thought people were following him home from the gym.
He got paranoid.
Yeah. So the big thing is like, because they took, like you were saying, like what pre-workouts have you taken?
I've done like C4, stuff like that. I did like the concrete, whatever the concrete one was, and I've never been into it. I remember this one time, like someone told me to take, what's the stuff that makes your body red?
Niacin?
Yeah. So like,
oh yeah, but you take that before you work out.
I had like a hookup through like a vitamin place, and I got niacin, and I remember I thought I had a heart attack.
It's super uncomfortable,
and I had to call my mom. I was living in Boston at the time, and I called my mom, and I was like, I think I'm dying. Please talk me through it.
Did you look in the mirror and see like how red you were?
I was disgusted. I looked at my arm. It looked like I was like sunburned.
Yeah, and it feels like you're sunburned. It's horrible.
Yeah, it felt like I was literally dying. I had to take, my heart wouldn't stop beating.
That was like late 90s, early 2000s. Like wrestlers loved niacin instead of tanning.
There's a man named Frankie TM that still
and tanning, and like I didn't get it because I mean like and it gives you like a pump, so I guess you can kind of, that's another quick route, but it's the most uncomfortable feeling in the world. You can literally see it spreading down your body. That's probably why I thought you were dying.
It was insane. I remember I took like the coldest shower, like chilled myself.
What did that do? Anything?
No, I don't know. I still went out and sat on the couch and thought I was dying. Like I just sat there like, I remember like calling my mom. My mom had to like calm me down. She's like, "You're sure you don't have to go to the hospital?" I'm like, "I don't know. I might be dying right now."
The big thing with pre-workouts was they took out DMAA, and of course I still found pre-workouts with DMAA in it. They took it out, and I don't know how they sell it again, and now I think it just got taken off the market again.
What actually is DMAA? Isn't that like a party drug? I feel like Coachella.
Honestly,
Coachella.
I don't even want to look into it, but that's like the crazy stuff. And I cut down a little bit. Like I was taking it like every time I lift weights, which is terrible.
Yeah.
And I need to calm down. And usually if I take that, I make sure I don't coffee or nothing else the rest of the day. But I knew we were going to do this, so I didn't take a lot of pre-workout.
Yeah. Tomorrow you fly too. What time do you fly?
7 p.m.
Okay, so you got a whole day to chill out.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna work out tomorrow before.
Of course, you gotta look at the TV.
So, I gotta get up early, so I'll probably want to take pre-workout before I work out. But I'm gonna chill out on pre-workout because, like Kevin Bennett took dust and thought that he was being followed.
How about the fact that it's called?
Yeah, you get dusted. There's dust and there's mesomore.
You were just taking angel dust. That's all it was.
But
look, I bought this really cool pre-workout off this guy in the corner.
Yeah, now
it's called dust.
well, that's like last night too, because I remember I texted last night, like I crashed super hard and I got super tired around 6 p.m.
Yeah.
And we were gonna do this at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
So I took a crucial nap. I knew that I was gonna get an iced coffee from Starbucks, and now I'm ripping. And it's but it's 9:30 p.m. I got a pack, and I mean we both got good. I want to bring this up. We both got good stuff going on. I'm flying out to Orlando tomorrow for 4 days of Impact tapings, and then you leave next week.
Yeah.
Is that the Taking Back Sunday tour?
No, this one's with Wage War. In 68, and we do like all those, they call them Wimmer Fests. It's like Rock on the Range. It's basically just like whatever, I'll shit talk it, I don't care. It's basically just like shitty radio rock bands, and then like they throw like some other bands. Oh, choke slams everywhere by the wall. God, I love choke slams. Yeah, it's basically just like we're playing with like Def Leppard on the 29th or the 30th.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but there's like Five Finger Death Punch and stuff like that are on it.
Yeah, we're watching.
He missed
Shane Douglas. Shane Douglas just punched the wall off a ladder, and the wall went through 3 tables. Yeah,
the wall was also wearing a Blood for Blood shirt. Which is kind of cool. Like, we just, the wall in 1998 was basically Andy Williams in 2017.
Leather pants.
Yeah, I rock leather pants. 2 different colored elbow pads. I dye my hair black and my goatee black. That type of thing. There's literally like a 1987 Crown Vic police car.
Cop car.
Okay.
That's why I didn't want to keep this on the background.
Yes, because it's so good. The demon just showed up.
But yeah, so I'm heading. Well, no, it's Hollywood Hogan.
It's just Hollywood Hogan. Wearing about 45 bolos.
Please pause this. Please.
He can't comprehend with a nitro on in the background.
I'm going on 4 days of tapings. You're going out on tour. We're going to try and squeeze in another one of these next week. Yeah. And then get these released.
Yeah. Well, this is basically like the introduction. We're trying to do like an introduction podcast.
We're not really sure what order we're going to release these in. So
yeah, and it's basically like anything about kicking ass. If you're kicking ass with your meals, we're going to talk about food. We're going to talk about working out. We're going to talk about
the gym.
Yeah, wrestling, music, movies. It's just basically just all forms of kicking ass.
Should we say where kicking ass came from?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were listening to early episodes of Cabana's podcast.
Let's even go back farther than that. So basically in band world, when you're playing music, you're with 5 people that you're around constantly.
All the time.
And it's not that we don't talk, but it's seriously sometimes it feels like a job because we see each other every day. So for 30 days straight, I see the same people over and over again. And after a while, you just don't have things to talk about, so you just don't talk. Because you kind of talk about them. But
it's and when you don't talk, it's it's not uncomfortable.
No. You're just not talking.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just a matter of whatever. So the other side of that is when I wrestle, I travel with Jesse, mm-hmm. and you just sit there and talk. It's one of those things. I barely get to see him, and when I do, we're stuck in a car for 4 hours, or 2 hours, or 3 hours, or whatever like that. So we start talking, and I picked him up. We were doing Smash. I don't even think I was on that show. No, it was when we wrestled each other.
Yeah, you're right.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I picked him up. We picked up our buddy Kevin Lockwood, and then we went up and did this thing or whatever. But when I showed up, I was listening to old cult podcasts, and
beginning stuff.
Oh,
and he had Bull Pain on.
Oh, one of my favorite interviews of all time.
Bull used to have his old shirt was the Harley Davidson logo, and it said "Bull Pain kicks ass," which was sweet. And then he was talking to Bull because Bull was telling a story.
Yeah.
And the way Colt phrased it was he basically just said, "Where were you kicking ass at this time?" Instead of where were you wrestling? Where were you living at this time? Where were you working? He was just "Oh, where were you kicking ass at this point in time?"
And I remember it was too at the end. He said something about "All right, where are you now?" And of course, Bull Pain's a little older, so he was basically trying to get him to give him his socials. "Oh, where are you at?" "Oh, I'm at Bull Pain at blah blah blah." he was like asking him like, so where you at? And he's like, just kicking ass. Like his answer was just kicking ass, and it was fantastic.
So that was my idea, was basically to say kicking ass instead of like work. Like oh, where you been working lately? Like, oh, where you kicking ass, man?
Yeah.
Where you kicking ass this weekend?
If any of you guys are listening to this and follow us, like either of us on social media, so it's at Andy Complains is mine, his at Braxton Sutter. And like he'll ask me like, "Hey, you kicking ass today?"
Yeah, just literally tweet like Andy Complains. Hey man, you kicking ass today?
And then literally just to pop him, I had an Every Time I Die shirt that said "Every Time I Die, just kicking ass," and it looks like old balloon. Like you would make it at like Walmart, like pick up the ingredients at Walmart.
Like it's from 1975. Yeah, it's beautiful. I thought of this on the way here too. So I had to convince you that the new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix was good. It was a good laugh. I convinced you of 3 super funny parts, and then afterwards you just laughed and said, "Yeah, you're right. It was pretty good."
He goes, "Did you see Sandy Wexler?" I go, "Yeah, I did. It was terrible." Yeah. And then he goes, "I don't know, man. I kind of liked it." And then like, I straight up had to change my mind because it actually is kind of funny.
And then now I thought of a 4th part, because the 3 I brought up were when he cries in the car.
It was awesome.
Yeah, when he cries in the car, the Beavis and Butthead call during the credits, and when Kevin James plays him like is it a ventriloquist dummy? Yeah, during the meeting. But also when Jennifer Hudson was in like the super cheap studio, and she was like just like blowing out these bangers, and then like the dude kept forgetting to hit the record button. Yes, and was like awesome. The 3rd time he starts like slapping the shit out of the dude.
Okay, was pretty funny. When they were actually in the good recording studio, and he keeps leaning on the light, and then the second time he's like, "I meant to do that one." Yeah, it's pretty funny, right?
That was a joke.
So it's pretty good.
Yeah. So yeah, it's 2 hours.
It's better than the Do-Over, and it's better than the Furious 5 or whatever that movie was.
Oh, his other one?
What is it? The cowboy one.
That's the one I watched.
It was real bad.
Because he was the Indian and he was real serious.
It was real bad.
Now, do you watch the Fast and Furious movies?
I've never seen a Fast and Furious movie.
Which
it blows everybody's mind when I say that.
Because that's our thing. We go to movies and we talk movies, and you see more movies than I do, which blew my mind.
Yeah.
That actually you haven't seen any of them?
I've never seen one Furious. But you want to know what it is? Fast and Furious is like Jason Barra. He was a fucking prick in high school that picked on me. That's what I think of. He was an asshole. Wait, and I was a wrestler, and like I checked him into a locker once and knocked him out, and I got in trouble because he was like a lineman. The dude was huge. He was like 300 pounds, and he was like going to Syracuse University or something like that, and like he like said something to me or was picking on someone, and I like blasted him into a locker, and his head hit the locker, and he was unconscious. And then I got like trouble for the guy was a prick. That's what I think of when I think of Fast and the Furious.
How? Why? Like what?
Because it's like a car movie, like a jock car movie.
Oh, I got you.
So it's like, like those are the guys like that. When I was like skateboarding at the plaza, like they would drive by and like, "Skater die, faggot." Yeah. And you know what I mean? Like that's a Fast and Furious movie.
Yeah. I didn't know that last one that just came out, Fate and the Furious.
Dude, Jordan Buckley, the other guitar player of Every Time I Die, just text. The new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix is pretty shot.
What do you miss?
The new Adam Sandler movie on Netflix is pretty shot, but there is a Beavis and Butthead scene after the credits that's worth the watch.
If we had time, we should text him the other 4 really funny parts. So when he's like, "Oh yeah, you're right. It's actually a pretty funny movie."
He would just like change his mind. No, you gotta watch these.
Yeah. Do you feel like by any chance now, because I've already heard the story, but I'll listen to it 6 times. Do you want to tell Kevin your super funny Jordan Buckley story?
Yeah.
To get it on here?
Yeah.
We probably should.
All right. So
pay attention, Kev.
This is insane. So we blew our transmission out. We were in Florida. We blew our transmission out. It was in St. Petersburg, Florida. And
you said this
is ages ago. This is maybe pre-2000.
But you also said it's probably hands down the funniest thing you've ever seen.
It's the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm trying to think of other ones. I mean, I made Keith Buckley throw up once on a fart, and I like almost threw up from laughing super hard in a pickup truck. We were like in a pickup truck, and I farted, and he threw up.
To cut that off, did you ever hear the story of when Keith gets really sick from like jizz shots?
Yeah, he gets sick from everything.
Yeah, but like it was at the old house everybody lived in, 1190, and like, dude, like I never like dudes just like 4 dudes just sitting around watching porno when you're like 18, 19. It's like kind of normal.
Why not?
So they were like watching porno, and like Keith walked in the room and didn't know what was going on, and it was like right at a jizz shot.
Yeah.
And like he basically walked in the room and was like, "Oh hey guys," and just like threw up all over the place.
He can't watch people throw up either. He'll throw up. But I think Jordan's like that too. I don't think Jordan can watch people throw up, but she throws up like every 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so we're in St. Petersburg, Florida, and our transmission blows, and we're stuck at like this hotel, and like it was an underdeveloped area that was literally just getting developed. So like now there's probably like sick stuff everywhere, but there was like a Hampton Inn, a transmission place, a gas station, an Applebee's. And then there was like a road that went down the street where they were starting to build, but there was nothing there. It was just like, it was like an Applebee's on one side and then hotel on the other side, or maybe the gas station.
There's like nothing to do. And
just like an empty road, like that was like, not developed yet. So obviously like you go from the hotel to the gas station, you go back to the hotel. Or you like go to Applebee's for food, you go back to the hotel. There's like nothing to do for 2 days. So we go to Applebee's, we eat, and as we're walking back, I look down this road and I see what I think is like a dog in the middle of the street. And when we were driving in, I remember seeing panther signs everywhere, like panther crossing signs. And I look down the street and there's a dog like in the street. And then it moved, and you could see how long its tail was, and it was a fucking panther. So I just run full speed at this panther, and it starts taking off, and I just run after it, like it's just where it was, to see if I could hear like it growling at me or something like that. It didn't look like it was like a fully grown panther. So I don't know, maybe like Florida panthers are smaller. I don't know. It didn't look that big. I mean, as I got closer, it got bigger, but whatever. So I'm kind of pawing around in this brush to see if it's going to do it. I start hearing growling, so I just turn and run as fast as I can. I get to like the back of Applebee's and jump on like the grease dumpster, and it was a badger that had like followed me out. And
it was like a super little shitty badger.
Yeah, like a shitty little badger that was just mad that I was like in its hood. And yeah, it just like kept trying to get at me. I'm like, oh, and then finally it just gave up and like walked away. So like, I get off the grease dumpster. We go to like the gas station to get like a Snickers bar or something like that. And like everybody's in line. Jordan's the last person. Now they won't it's one of those places like after 11 o'clock, you're not allowed in. So they have like
you like talk to the dude and you have to like open
the box,
thing, right?
Yeah, basically like little box.
Open the box, slide the money, dude slides it back.
Yeah. So, whatever. I get a can of Coke and a thing, blah, blah, blah. Next guy. It gets up to Jordan. He just sits there and he's rubbing his chin and he's like pondering. And he's just sitting there and he's pondering. And the guy's like, hey, man, like, what can I get you? And he goes, And he gives like motions to like open the box. So the box opens. Jordan sits on it and just farts and then slams it in the dude's face. And the guy literally lights on fire. He's screaming behind this glass. He's like pounding on the glass, just like yelling, and you motherfucker, just screaming. And like, it was like,
you guys are just standing there staring at him, dude, like, oh my god,
Jordan was just straight face, just staring him in the eyes, like as he farted, the guy was just sitting there thinking, it was one of those laughs where like my muscles didn't work. I like immediately just turned into like gelatinous mess. Like was on the ground, like crying and sweating, like instantly, like laughing and crying.
The fact that like the fart actually traveled into that guy.
And you want to know something?
Hitting the glass, like you fucking.
Yeah, but like you know how like sometimes like farts literally don't bother me at all. Like you can fart and I don't care. Like, it doesn't affect me at all. Like, they happen. They come out of your body. So whatever. So, and everybody does it. Like, the Queen of England is farting right now. Like, if you think about it. Like, the most poised person you can think of is farting right now. Anderson Cooper just farted.
I think that's why they're the funniest thing in the world. Yeah. And they'll never get old.
But, like, you know, like,
never get old.
When dudes get bent out of shape, or, like, how about this? The perception of a fart blows someone's mind. You don't even smell it. They just hear it. They're like, oh, my God, you're disgusting. That smells disgusting. And you're like, it has not even... You don't smell it. Yeah, there's no way you can smell it. It didn't go straight into your fucking nose.
And you do that every day.
You're literally 8 feet away from me right now. There's not a direct line straight to your nose from my butthole. It's not happening. And, like, you see the guys, like, do that, and, like, there's a term called punishers, and whatever. It's just someone that literally is just blasting you. Like...
There's no escape.
There's just, and it's just, they're just talking to hear their own voice. Like, it's basically, that's it. And, like...
But the big one for me is when the conversation ends and there's that pause where it should be like, all right, man, talk to you later. See ya. But, it, like...
They just try to drag something
just stare at you because you can tell they're trying to think of what to talk about next. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, fuck, man.
And, like, the worst is, you know, someone's going to beat you up if they come up to you and they're like, oh, man, like... I mean, I have you here right now. I mean, I feel like I should ask you a question or something like that. It's like, or no, you don't have to at all. You just say, hey, what's up, man? And that's it. And then we can have a normal conversation and not ask me a question or anything like that. Like a normal human being. But the worst is, like, some people, when they're around, my best friend Wes is in the other room right now on a phone call, which is really weird to me. Who he talks to besides me is insane.
On the phone for 20 minutes?
It's either me or his girlfriend. He's been on the phone the whole time.
He's not talking to his girlfriend.
No, he's definitely not talking to his girlfriend. There's some sort of, like, I bet you it's like got something to do with sports betting or something like that. He might be talking to Hammer right now. But anyways, if he was in here right now, I'm sure he could probably think of like 5 other times where I turned into like jelly.
From laughing so hard?
Yeah, but what I'm getting at with the fart thing is we grew up with this dude named Jones, and Jones is like a dude who, like, I don't know if you guys have ever grown up with someone who, like, every time they talk it starts with a noise.
Yeah.
And Jones would be like, hey, and it was always, and then he would, like, start talking, and I remember we were all at Denny's this one time, and I think I farted, or someone farted or something like that, and then, he reacted like the worst thing in the world happened. Like, to his nose. Like a skunk crawled into his nose. Like, that's what you would think. It was just like, oh, there it is. There's a little skunk in my nose. and next thing you know, so I'm looking at Wes, and I'm like, dude, he is just overreacting about everything. Watch this. I'm gonna fake one out. And I was like, oh, dude, I just farted. Did you smell that? And he goes, oh, dude, you reek. Just like that. And I was like, I didn't even fart, you fruit.
Oh,
like,
dude.
Stop it. And he was like, oh, dude, I smell something, though, man. I smell something. And it was just like, go away, dude.
He's like trying too hard.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Another one, too. Wes threw a 25-pound plate at him to get to working out. Wes threw like a 25-pound plate at him or something like that because Wes was like benching at the gym. And he had his earbuds in, and Jones walked up and pulled one of the earbuds out of his ear in the middle of, like, a rep.
Oh, yeah.
And he stood up and just threw a 25-pound weight at him.
What the fuck, man?
Like a plate at him. Jones. How he seems just like, oh, Jones is going to talk because you heard an
When, like, this always interests me, like, a lot, and I feel like people don't talk about it enough. Like, I remember hearing Jordan tell a story before where he was going to UB and you guys were doing the band at the same time.
Yeah.
And it was just like it was getting to be a lot to try and juggle both.
Yeah.
So he had to like choose one, and I remember he said like he was at like Red Lobster with like his parents, and he had to have a talk.
He did it at Red Lobster.
Yeah. Like I want to do the band full time.
Yeah.
Like for you, like. When did you? Because didn't you?
I'm like, older than them.
Yeah, but you had like a full-time job. Didn't
I'm
you?
40.
Yeah, we're both pushing 40 now.
Yeah.
You were working for like the town, right?
Well, I had it, but that was like when I was 16. I had a town job.
Yeah.
And I worked at the shit plant, sewer plant.
Is that what like everybody at the job called it?
The shit plant? Yeah. That's literally what it was, the shit plant.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, there's Wes.
Please keep going about the shit plant.
Yeah. Who did you just talk to?
Bob.
Oh, okay. That's great.
Yeah, he's trying to buy his business wrong.
Oh, good. Okay.
Talking business.
So, yeah, he was definitely talking shop. Yeah, I had this job with my dad at my dad's work where I was drafting. And it was basically like I got out of high school and my dad literally was like, hey, you have 2 weeks to figure out how to draft. If you can, you have this job.
No.
It's sick. And it was cool. It was like, I think I made close to, this is 1997, 98, right around there. I was making like $20 an hour. I had to wear like a suit and tie. And stuff like that.
Okay, because that's the.
I was also robbing cars on the side.
Is it robbing cars?
I was robbing cars on the side.
Oh, I remember hearing about like hardcore dudes like robbing cars.
Yes, that was us. That was me.
Because I came home to visit from. I moved away to Cincinnati to train for wrestling in '99.
Yeah.
And I came home to visit between '99 and 2000. And I heard there was a party to bring up 1190 again.
Yeah.
The house everybody lived at. And I remember you talking to me. You like knew all about our wrestling, like what we were doing.
Listen,
and
you guys were backyarders.
And I remember you said, you said you had like a shirt and a tie job, and you were like, it's kind of sucks. You guys are doing what you want. It's really cool. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And then okay, because I thought you were working for the town for some reason. But the meat and potatoes of this was like, at what point, when did you stop working and like start touring?
Almost immediately, man.
Like full time.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't a smooth transition. Did you like start working like less and less and less and less, or did you just say like, okay, fuck this, I'm just touring. That's it.
That was it. It was basically like Buried Alive used to take me on tour early on. This is probably like 96, 97. Like right when I graduated high school, I used to go out with Buried Alive, and at that time, like touring was a little different. Like you couldn't really tour year round. Like there just wasn't enough bands.
Yeah, but yeah, even me being like, I mean, I'm not in the music business. I don't know shit about it, but it seems like now, there's just more.
Oh, it's so easy. But like at that time,
which I guess wrestling is pretty much kind of the same.
Oh, yeah.
Like now, there's just so much more. I mean, indie wrestling than
stuff.
when I started in '99, 2000.
There's nothing.
Yeah, it's like a completely different story.
4 places, you know what I mean, or something like that. So if you think about it, like back then, like even if there was bands that you listened to, like in the '90s, like if they weren't like on a major label or something like that. There were like tours, like you would go out for like a 30-day tour, but then you'd have like a month off or 2 months off or something like that. It wasn't as like repetitive. And I think it's only because like indie labels didn't like realize that they kind of have to set up like a mini version of like a major. So there's a few things you kind of have to deal with when you do like an indie label that are kind of like major label things. And I think that one of them was like, oh shit, like if we want these bands to sell records, we're going to need to get like publicists and stuff like that. I think that's when it like kind of like picked up. Then more outlets were seeing bands, and then
I always wondered this too, like would that be why like bands we listened to in like the 90s, like why a lot of them come back now?
Yeah.
Because like now they can do it full time for like, a job.
For sure.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean honestly, if you think about it, that used to be like the big thing for hardcore bands was like, oh man, like the States are cool, but like if you get over if
you get overseas
in Europe, like you have a career forever.
Yeah.
And like there's bands like Ignite that like murder. They do great in Europe.
Yeah.
And they tour in Europe like all the time, and then like they come to the States, maybe they'll do like 1 tour a year out of the States. And it'll be like easy. Like it'll be like, we're doing the West Coast, we're gonna fly to the East Coast, we're gonna do the East Coast, and then that's it.
Well, I mean, even like Avril Lavigne, like she's huge like overseas compared to like the States and stuff too. And
then there's like Canada, which like there's Canadian bands like Alexa on Fire, like they're enormous everywhere in the world but the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're a Canadian band,
and they're back because who's going to say no to that amount of money?
Exactly.
Like they're making way more money than they ever did.
Yeah, like why wouldn't they? It makes sense.
And you only have to do 2-week tours a year.
Yeah, it's
like a no-brainer.
Incredible. That's like, I mean, even for like wrestlers, like I don't know, like I juggle with this like a lot, but it's like. A lot of times when guys are like just an indie wrestler for a living, like it sounds cool, and I know some of them do well, but it's like it's like, but when you're the indie wrestler who like lives in his mom's basement, and you know what I mean, you wrestle 4 times a month, like it's, I don't know. I'm always interested in that when guys get to that point where like they don't have to work a shoot job anymore or a part-time job anymore, and they can, I
honestly think anything in the world, if you want to do it, you have to be 100% about it, and you can't. Saying no to opportunities is just. I went over this. Like someone recently just used me as an example of why I get on wrestling shows and shit like that. And it's like the dude that we're talking. I'm not trying to bury anyone, but like it's a guy that perpetually through his life has said no to opportunity. So like, it's like one of those things where it's like, dude, I'm going to be 40 in December. And like this wrestling thing, I might only have 5 matches left. I don't know. You know what I mean? My body is going to break at some point. So why would I say no to anything? You know what I mean? At this point, and like, I don't know, whatever.
I would like when you hear stuff like that too. I always think when you hear opportunity like that, it's not like it's always this like golden opportunity. Like a lot of time, most of the time, there's a huge chance you have to take with that opportunity. Yeah. Like Carl Anderson is the perfect example. Like we were living in Cincinnati, training and wrestling, and then they offered him to go. He got the offer. I mean, like when you hear the word offer, you think like a contract and money. Basically, they told him he could move out to California and train at the New Japan dojo in California. But I mean, he slept in the dojo. Like he slept in the ring. Like he didn't have any money. Like
that opened up a shit ton of
that's how, you know what I mean? Like, and this was like, I don't want to say late in age. He was like late 20s, but he wasn't like 18 years old. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So he went out to California and ate shit for years, and then that's how he got his opportunity to go to Japan, and that's why he's doing so well at what he's doing now. Because you have to take that huge chance, big risk, big reward.
I was talking to Kevin about this earlier. Is like there's people who are born with hustle, and then there's people who don't know what that means. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like if I haven't, and this it sucks for like. I understand why some people get mad if I get booked on independent shows. Like I understand that. Like I haven't cut my teeth. I get it because I'm trying to do this a different way than most.
I hear stuff like that too, in like stand-up comedy and everything like that. Like I'm a big believer in like your success has nothing to do with my success.
Of course.
So like why to hate on other people for doing well just makes no sense to me.
Yes.
I do want to say like we kind of mentioned it, but. Kevin Bennett from Buffalo. Kevin, how many Twitter followers do you have?
106,000.
Kevin's a local kid from Buffalo. How long have you been wrestling for now?
7 years in August.
He's wrestling 7 years. He's coming along extremely well. He does music. He's doing wrestling. 106,000 Twitter followers. How many Instagram followers do you have?
Like 15,000.
Yeah, still pretty good.
Yeah.
And what'd you say with the beats on YouTube? 10?
Like 10,500 for YouTube.
Yeah, but Kevin's sitting in with us, and I just want to like the example you said when you and Kevin shot that promo stuff for the Smash Vignette. You guys finished up at like midnight. And Kevin had
it done at like 8
in the morning. Like 8 hours later, it was done. And like Kevin also works a full-time job.
This is what I was trying to like explain to this. Like all 3 of us also work for this company called Smash in Toronto. If you're not familiar with it,
check out Smash Wrestling in Toronto.
Awesome.
It's badass.
And I'm sure like as soon as we keep going with this podcast, like you'll get more and more guys because we're always there together. Yeah. But like that's the thing, like. Kevin's like a dude I've known for a while. He graduated my nephew, who is 17 years younger than I am. And we just wrestled each other. Like me and Kevin just wrestled each other, and it's really weird, man. Like in wrestling, like it's a lot like music, where like you kind of get people where you're like, oh shit, like me and this dude are like. Technically making a pretty cool song together.
In wrestling, they call it chemistry.
Yeah, but it's not like that's a thing. Like, and it's a matter of like when we're going through these like ideas and stuff like that. Like he wasn't ashamed to tell me if something was bad. and I wasn't ashamed to tell him something was bad. And then if something was really good, I would be like, oh shit, that's really good. And then when, vice versa, you're like playing off each other perfectly. And I was trying to tell that to the Smash dudes. I was like, me and Kevin were like very creative together, like when it comes to the video content. And I think it's another thing, going back to that hustle. It's like Kevin's not afraid to like throw himself out there. And I think that's like a lot of people's problems in music, pretty much anywhere. They're just not allowed. They're afraid to throw themselves out there because they're afraid of what the
outcome.
Well, not basically the outcome, but they're afraid of like the negativity. Instead of like thinking about the positive of it, where it's like sometimes, man, like you have to like.
Well, you have to eat shit. Like it's gonna happen, but everything's not gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And if you can like go back and say like, well, that sucked, but I'm gonna wrestle 3 more times this month, or 4 more times this month, like that's where you're not dwelling on things. And I mean, it's just in life in general, man. Like you shouldn't be ashamed of failing because everybody fails, and you're gonna fail 1,000,000 times. This is all shit I said to Kevin on the way here.
I did.
Fucking weird.
I was 28 to 30 years old. I tried doing a gimmick called Preston Wyatt Parks, where I
don't remember that at all.
I wore a scarf. I wanted to do a rich kid gimmick. I wrestled in. This was when those plaid shorts like came back around again, like late 2000s. And the big problem was that I wanted to be a rich kid. I was almost 30 years old. I was losing my hair, and it's just not gonna. It wasn't for me at the time. Yeah. But I mean, that's how. I mean, I was I was getting stagnant. I wanted to try something new, and everything's not going to work.
Yeah, but that's like at least you tried.
Yeah,
because you just never know.
And now I just look back on it and laugh. But.
Getting back to that is Kevin he's not afraid of that shit, and that's why he has 105,000 followers and fucking. You know what I mean? Like that kid puts himself out there. And
it just made me think of it when you said like some people are born with the hustle. Like Kevin gets it
100%. And it's like that's the thing. Like he's not afraid to take a 5.5 hour drive somewhere for.
That's a big one too.
There's a tiny bit of opportunity.
I was even going to get because there's guys out there you see too. I'm sure you see this in music and everything. There's people who they think they want it, but they don't.
Yeah.
They want to say like I'm putting this much work in. I'm just waiting for. It's like well maybe you have to work harder, but they don't want to because they actually don't want to get there because they know what that involves. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I always look at it like music, comedy, acting, wrestling, any form of entertainment. Like a lot of it, it's so similar. And like I mean, you even said like writing a song and putting together a wrestling match.
The thing is, all of us know a band, a comedian, a wrestler that deserves more than they put, more than they get.
Oh, yeah.
Because they you see how much they do. They put 110% into everything that they do. And the politics in it, they just don't have the politics.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen for everybody.
Which is the worst.
Yeah.
That's going back to like Carl Anderson, like me being just like a wrestling fan. It's like you see a dude just bust his ass in Japan, and it's like, God darn it, man, this dude is so good.
Yeah. See you, Wes.
Bye, Wes. Hit me up tomorrow.
Yeah, like it's like you say. I mean, for him, it's paying off.
Now that's what awesome. I mean. That's it's like.
I'm not a football guy, so it's weird for me to use this example. But
whoa, the dog. They hear bells, they get freaked out.
Whoa, Bigelow.
Biggs, he's leaving. Biggs and Lipton.
Like Tom Brady. He got, Bledsoe got hurt and Brady got put in and he took off. But Brady was sitting the bench. Like, imagine how many guys there are like that don't get that chance.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, the next, that's the thing. Like, in anything, the next Tom Brady could be just sitting there and just never be used.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't happen for everybody. But
that was the thing. It was like, I remember us all watching your, Impact. Mm-hmm. Thing. We watched it on the bus. It was during Warped Tour or something like that.
I remember Mitch told me he got legit tour. Yeah.
We legit were oh my god, this is amazing. We're freaking out. And even you doing the Boogeyman, literally me laughing when the guy's here we have Mr. Jesse.
No, the big one was Boogeyman did his finish, the splash off the top, and Taz goes, Mr. Jesse's in trouble. Mr. Jesse's in trouble.
Jesse. I remember we were on tour when that happened, and that was like it's always like cool, especially for me because I've always been such a wrestling fan. Like I don't know, like a statistician when it comes to like wrestling. Like I can tell you the first match I ever saw when I was a kid. You know what I mean? Up until I can just remember a ton of shit. I remember a ton of names, and I remember a ton of moves, and like it's the worst, like slash the best. Because now when I'm in the ring and I'm like trying to figure something out, I can be like, oh yeah, I saw like Beautiful Bobby do this. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, being a wrestling fan helps.
Yeah.
Just to rewind for a second, like something funny I always think about was, like you said, like when it was really cool to see me do the thing with Boogeyman on ECW.
Yeah.
Just to see yourself on television, they use my real name. And I remember like my dad said like my mom was up in bed and like when they showed me, she like yelled out loud. She was so excited. But then like to fast forward, like then probably still 5 years later when I was still doing squash matches on WWE, and my parents wouldn't even like call me anymore. And, like my mom was just actually getting aggravated and like, so when are they gonna have you start winning? Like it was just like it got old after a while. So I'm glad that but I stuck it out and things worked out.
You're still kicking ass.
Still kicking ass, and that's what I tell guys is you just got to keep kicking ass and don't stop, because that's how like we're saying, for the guys that it doesn't happen for, you really can't think that way. You just have to keep going.
That's like a thing. Like earlier today, me and Kevin got a good workout in. I'm an Anytime Fitness guy. I use it everywhere because it's everywhere in the world. So Kevin went with me and we did a back workout, and like while we were doing it, like Kevin was talking about, and I didn't say this at the time, but like Kevin said, oh man, this dude, I went to Cleveland and this dude did this move that I do. You know what I mean? The one thing, like when that shit happens, it's like, what's that term? Like they say that like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Or something like that. In wrestling, it's a little different. In music, it's way different because like you can hear it and see
people
shit
steal
like that.
Riffs and
For Every Time I Die, like anytime that shit happens, it lights a fire under our ass and it makes us get more creative. So like if someone's biting our shit, well, we're gonna do something 10 times harder than that band, or we're just gonna like completely scrap it and just move on and be something completely more creative. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh shit, this guy's doing that? Well, fuck you. It's going to put a chip on our shoulder, and we're going to fucking play harder. We're going to play better. We're going to do, you know what I mean? Like that type of shit where it's like... Which is
the right attitude to have.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, this dude ripped the shit off. Well, fucking now it's time to just fucking ramp it up.
Yeah, I think to myself, like if someone does something similar that I do, like I don't stress about it because I just think to myself that I'm not worried about it because I do it better.
Yeah.
And same thing. I like anytime I've gotten like shut down, I instead of quitting, like the big one was, I guess when I got back from Japan, and then I didn't really know where to go from there. And then when I did the tryout at NXT, and then after that I didn't really know where to go from there. And especially at that point because I was post 30 years old, like it just pissed me off, and then it just got me to work harder and try different things and just to keep going. Yeah. But I think all that just stems from passion, like, you know what I mean? Because like I love wrestling and that's all I want to do, and that's, it doesn't really come to my mind of like, oh fuck it, I'm gonna quit and go work at Geico. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It's the same thing with you. Like you have a passion for music. It's like it doesn't even pop up in your head to do something else.
Yeah,
like,
wrestling. Same thing with wrestling. Right?
Yeah, you just have to have that passion.
So creative, like in my head, it's like once things kind of like go, and I'm like, oh wow, my body can do that. Okay, cool. Now it's time to like see where I can go from there. I almost killed Kevin last week.
You did. You really did.
And all it was like in my head, like I know I'm 40 years old. I know I'm not doing moonsaults. I'm not doing stuff like that. I'm not going to do I'm not going to pop a hurricane run out of nowhere. Like shit like that. So like we did like a running power bomb spot, and like right before Kevin put something in my head, he goes, "Oh yeah, like Adam Rose said that if things seem slow, go slower." So I equated that to when things seem far, go farther.
So you went all the way together.
I was in one corner and I fucking went, and I was like, all right, like usually I'm 3 steps in. Let's say I'm 3 steps in. This has got to be the center of the thing. And then I jumped and then almost blasted his head. I think your head did hit the bottom fucking turnbuckle.
I didn't feel it.
Yeah.
Those two things don't go hand in hand at all. Go slower and go longer. It's like two totally different things.
No idea. It's like, I got to be baby stepping this one. No, yeah. I was taking giant steps, and I almost...
When I gave you that suplex into the corner, and you domed yourself and got a concussion. That was... I mean, I shouldn't say you domed yourself, because I had...
This is what was going on in my brain. This is what goes on in my brain. Because there's like, in wrestling, there's psychology, and you have to like kind of, like, to me, I'm, no joke, in my head, I'm psychosis. Like, in my head, I am 5'8", 180, I can do backflips, I can do front flips, I can do all the cool shit, but in reality, I'm a 4-year-old man, losing my hair, and I'm 245 pounds and 6'3".
Bad knees.
With terrible knees. And when I'm in matches, like, and especially if I'm in matches with my friends, I want my friends to look devastating. I want them to look like they're murdering me because I'm so big.
Me wrestling as long as I have, I should have known that was not a good idea.
This spot was fine.
Here's
the thing.
It just came up where we needed to insert a move.
I should have rolled into it. Instead, I was like, I'm fucking jumping as high and as hard as I can into this fucking thing. I want to make it look like it killed me. And it kind of gave me a concussion.
The gift was just you going straight down. You basically pile drove yourself.
Yeah, and it was just, like I said, it was just me being... And
then you were just straight concussed
thick-headed, and instead of just letting Jesse take me into the move, I just went as hard as I could.
Or I should have just called something else, because I knew it was a bad idea from the scratch.
No way. It worked out. I got up. I hit Mike with a... whatever. I don't remember it, but I remembered the move. I hit him with it.
Yeah, the surprise, it was me and Mike, the well-oiled machines from Smash Wrestling, versus you and Frankie TM, and I would have preferred to have kept that way more basic, and Frankie was just hammering you with stuff like this and that and bam, boom, boom. It turned out fine.
Yeah.
The same thing with you and Kevin though from Smash. Like, I don't know if I told you this or not. I didn't want you to feel bad, but when you told me what you guys were doing, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh no, they're doing way too much, and you're gonna get blown up and tired and forget stuff. And then I watched it, and I was like, holy fuck, that was fucking awesome.
Here's the thing. So in all my matches, this is the thing that I'm getting pigeonholed with is, one, a fucking choke slam. I have to throw a choke slam, and that was just Seb from Smash going, oh, dude, you should do a choke slam.
You're a big guy. You should do a choke slam.
God damn it. Like, I was like, I don't really want to do a choke slam.
You're a huge wrestling fan, and you hate choke slams.
I hate choke slams. They're so unrealistic. The only thing you can choke slam is a baby. Or, like, a child. Like, that's it. A small, frail old woman. Maybe. Or an old man. But that's about it. So choke slams just... But... Like, I've kind of come up with a pretty good knack where, like, if I have the right guy, they look really cool and whatever. Anyways, I'm starting to come back. I'm starting to come around on choke slams. But yeah, like, that's it. And then in all my matches, they always start hot. So I'm just attacking a guy right away.
Or they're attacking
me.
Yeah.
I get my knee worked on constantly.
Because you have a bad knee.
My knee is... Both of them are bad. You pretty much hit any part of my body, and it's probably bad. And so, like, there's things that just pigeonhole. So when me and Kevin were, like, talking about the match, I was like, I gotta do some athletic shit. Like, I have to do I have to show that I can move. I don't want to like do it. And
the stuff at the beginning was great.
Yeah, and that's all it was. Like we were covering and thinking, and like there was definitely like when we got to the outside, I was like,
oh boy,
oh boy. Because we just did like a leapfrog spot. Like we both did leapfrogs. We did some drop downs, and then like whatever. Like that never happens in my matches. So like it was cool to like happen, and yeah, it was rad. So like we did some athletic shit. That
reminds me of the first time Chris Benoit and Kurt Angle wrestled each other at WrestleMania, because they wrestled each other tons of times after that.
Yeah.
But the first time they worked at WrestleMania, it's funny to go back and watch because they just go hard at the beginning and they're doing like shoot wrestling stuff and they're just going at it, and then they go to the outside at one point, and there's a story that went around from that where Chris Benoit never got blown up. It just never happened.
What was the?
And then the story is that he actually said, like, Angle went over to him and Benoit actually said, "Give me a second," because he's kind of blown up, and that was like a big deal because it just doesn't happen.
Wasn't it like Isn't there like an old story that like he used to do 5,000 free squats or something?
He had like a famous like warm up routine he did like before every match. I mean, I'm sure. It was something gnarly. Yeah, it was pretty gnarly. But I can't remember what podcast I was on. I was in a podcast where like they were like legit saying that like it was a dark match. That's what it was. It was, or not a dark match. It was like someone's tryout match. They said that they were in there just killing it in this tryout match, and the dudes came out and watched the tryout match. Mm-hmm. And then while they were like whoever it was wrestling in the ring, they like looked and like Benoit was just sitting there doing free squats and watching the match. Yeah. It was just like going for like ever. But in the Angle and Benoit thing, they go to the outside at one point, and then Angle finally like cuts Benoit off with like a clothesline or something like that. Like he cuts him off, and you can tell like he's saying like that was like a moment there where he was like like to catch his breath, and he like cuts him off, and Angle would always do kind of like a Ric Flair like woo like once in a while. Yeah. So he cuts Benoit off. He's like, woo! And you can just like the camera's right on his face, and he just looks so tired and just like, thank God I can like catch my breath for a second. Yeah. It's super funny. Which is wild for like an Olympic wrestler. Yeah, it's Kurt Angle, like a legit Olympic gold medalist. We're on 45 minutes to an hour here. Before we start rambling, I say wrap it up. All right, yeah. We just wanted to get like an introduction out there. I'm sure we're going to add some graphics, and we're going to do some. We're going to add like a song every week, and I mean, we'll bring it in with a song. I do like some guests. We're going to have some good guests. We're going to have great guests, and we have like some segments. We have a Voxer thing that we have like idea that we're going to have, where we're going to just like out of the blue call people. Wrestling and Voxer is a huge thing. The only people I Voxer with are wrestlers, and I've never heard of anybody else using Voxer besides wrestlers. Yeah. So like this is the thing. If you're listening to this and you're a wrestler and you know either of us or one of us, we're gonna like call you out on Voxer, and you're gonna be called on the spot to tell a story. And I was also thinking we should eventually get an email for the podcast. Oh, people email us questions, and for sure. I mean, they could also tweet at us, but we'll get like some questions going and stuff too. I'd love that. Yeah. We'll get Allie, my wife, on here. We'll get Dick Justice on here. We'll get Matt Cross on here. We'll get some. We'll actually get Kevin Bennett on here. Yeah, we'll actually get Kevin Bennett on here. Actually talk. I didn't want to get Kevin on here for the first episode. Let's get the format down first. Yeah, for sure. But he helped us a lot. We do also have a closing line we wanted to use, and it comes from Earl Hepner. And I screwed it up, so you got. I'll tell you this story. You're going to hear this every single podcast because this is going to be the way we're going to finish it. So me and Jesse worked Joey Janela's spring break at WrestleCon in Orlando this year. And it was amazing. So our match was whatever, but it was earlier. It was earlier in the day, so we were like there's just it was ridiculous. Like the whole time, like. Dink is walking around. Marty Jannetty's there. Virgil is just punishing everyone. So it was insane. And like to go downstairs, like at one point in time, like after the match, like I couldn't find my hat, and it was like literally behind Dan Severn's head. So I'm just like, excuse me, Dan Severn, I need to grab my hat. You know what I mean? Like
It was insane.
Hey, Dan, remember that time you legit gave that guy a German suplex on like UFC 4 like twice?
Anthony Messias?
Yeah.
It was sick.
Yeah, when I was like 12 years old and I lost my mind. Anyways.
Like, how about this? Like, a drunk Bill Carr downstairs in the locker room. I give him a hug, a kiss on the mouth, look over, and Matt Tremont's just bleeding out of his head like, from a match that he had with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston's covered in Matt Tremont's blood. It was just, locker rooms of wrestling shows are just, this was the most insane one. But like,
then Glacier walks in.
Yeah, Glacier's there. So they had this like thing called the clusterfuck where it was basically, it was kind of like a battle royal almost, but like,
it was more like Royal Rumble style.
Yeah.
But there was like pinfalls and eliminations.
Yeah. And it was just a hodgepodge of people. Like, it was basically like, instead of it being like, it was like a 12-man.
Yeah, the Invisible Man was in it.
It was insane.
Yeah.
So Glacier comes out, and we're like watching up top, and we're like looking down on it. Glacier comes out.
You told the bad joke of.
Yeah, I told a great joke, first of all. So yeah, he gets in the ring, blah, 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 and I go, hey guys, you feel that? Got a little colder in there, huh? And Earl Hebner looks me dead in the eye and goes, heat's in the ring, brother. That was it. Heat's in the ring, brother.
Yeah.
Like, that was the reason why it got cold in there, was because the heat was in the ring.
All the heat's in the ring.
Which was very sarcastic.
I've always said, like, much like I just want to use heat's in the ring as like a goodbye. As like, hey man, I'll see you later. All right, good. I'll see you next time. Yeah, all right, man. Heat's in the ring, brother.
Yeah, it's the perfect send up.
So that's going to be our outro.
Yeah. So hey, heat's in the ring, brother.
Thanks, guys. Looking forward to more.
Yeah.